Can't slow down, don't sit back, just stand up, you're unstoppable. Why you wasting your life away? So many things you could try today. Nobody holding you back, he's already giving the right away. Got the dreams in your head, but you're scared. Will I crash, will I fall, will I fail? Voices in my head, nah, I don't wanna hear that. Till the devil get back, I will never fear that. Whole world's waiting on you. Take your chance, it's time to make a move. Time to make a move, time to make a move. Time to make a move, get up. Work,
baby.
get up, get up, get up.
Get up, get up. Get up, get up. Get up, get up. Get up, get up.
Here we go.
Get up, let me put you on. For the light come, light get gone. This ain't no cinematic, ain't no movie really happening.
Ain't no
nobody
movie
yelling
really
action.
happening.
No
We
cameras,
in day
and no
two,
acting. It's real life truth we
session
packing.
two.
Our God is great, no man. Father made plans and the son came to that. Born of a virgin and died on a pilot. He don't need one, but he still fly. Rose into the reverse skydive. No lie, no lie, boy, coming back. I hope you on the scene for the sky crack. I'm headed to the party where the lights at. Holla at me, I got the sky cap.
Whole world's waiting on you. Take your
So
chance.
true. The whole world is waiting on you. Hey, everybody, how are you? Give me a wave if you can hear me. Good to see everybody. Yay! Good to see. See, now I know you can move. I know you're not a frozen picture. So if I ask you to do things, or we'll get started here. Hey, so welcome back. We're going to get started here in just a second. Amber, are you on a tight schedule, or can I do a little recap, or do you need to dump? Okay, so you're good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love the people that I get to work with. Hey, yeah, Zoom had sent me some shirts way back when, actually before the pandemic, before Zoom became Zoom, I was one of their bigger users. So, and I had influence. And so they sent me a whole bunch of t-shirts, and I think I still have, I'll have to find them. Zoom journals. I have some Zoom journals, which are kind of cool. Anyway, so that all being said, hey, everybody, welcome. My name is Sean Murphy. If you're just joining us, or you happen to be invited today too, my name is Sean Murphy. I'm the international speaker trainer, founder of the Secret Sauce Academy, founder of the Purpose Driven Payday Academy, which is coming out after the session, founder of the, what else? Addiction to Approval Conversation. I've done a lot of things, and I've created a lot of new ways to look at old things. So let me shift this here real quick, because I'm seeing, how many of you are seeing my green glow? I've got my green glow going on. Now my green glow is not going on, but we've got to do this over here, because that drawer, there we go. Perfect. Listen, done is the new perfect. So, 5-time #1 best-selling author, hypnotherapist, mental toughness coach, all of these great things. That and 25 cents get you what? It just gets you access to stuff. So all that being said, what I want to do is I want to invite you to this opportunity, to this conversation today about you having more, about you deciding what is going to drive your purpose. A lot of times, the thing that drives people's purpose is their pain. Not if you agree with me on that one. A lot of times, the thing that drives people, is that Samantha? Hey, Samantha in the house. All the puppies are missing you. So all that being said is that a lot of times the pain that drives people is what they confuse for their purpose. And what's the pain that drives most people? Financial. The thing that drives most people is financial. The other thing that drives most people is the identity they're afraid to give up. I had a very dear friend who was on a call the other day. Here's something I said, and it kind of hit her sideways. And the thing I said is that it's not that you're in a comfort zone that you got to get out of. You're in a pain zone you've become comfortable with that you've chosen not to leave. And my dialogue with you, my conversation with you today about this purpose-driven payday is to help you understand that if you have your purpose, you will have the drive. You will jump out of bed. You will fire yourself up. You will get excited faster than you ever thought possible. And Jim Rohn said, if you want more income, provide more value. Do you think you'll be providing more value if you're living from your purpose? Do you think your value will be paid for, compensated for? See, some of you are throwing out your average. You're below average. And throwing all of that out, what happens is that you wind up stuck in a similar pattern that keeps you from your success. So what I want to first do is, in order for this to sink in and have a little access, we need to awaken our body. How many of you know that if your body is in good shape, if your body is prepared, if your body is ready, you can hear stuff? How many of you have been tired and couldn't hear good information? How many of you have been sore and couldn't hear good information? Well, I don't know if we can fix the soreness, but what I know we can do, we can have a conversation to awaken your body, awaken the meridians, awaken the chakras, and our incredible expert on this may or may not even be talking about these particular areas, but I know that we'll get them covered now that I said them. So all that being said, please help me welcome to the stage from Minnesota, somebody who's got 30 plus years experience in helping people find their human potential. The last 15 years doing it as a wildly successful profession, doing it both domestically and long distance, doing it both in her city and across the country. Somebody who understands the body at an energetic level, and somebody who will help you unlock and free up some of the space you need to have more of what you want and less of what you don't. Please help me welcome to the stage, Amber Swally. Connect.
Good morning, everybody. All right. So Sean gave us a workbook for these 2 days. And on page 7, there was a commitment. So when you signed this commitment, there was a part towards the top that says, I, your name, pledge to play full out, engage with an open mind and a willingness to explore, learn, and grow. We're going to play all out for the next about 10 minutes. So state, our body, our being, it all affects each other. It's all intertwined. And I want to do a little example of state that I have done before. And that's the no energy. Oh, I didn't sleep well last night. My husband made me mad. My dog peed on the floor. So everyone just go in a like slouchy state. Slouch, don't feel good. Do you feel how your body shifts, how your energy shifts? I can actually see it through the screen. So we're not going to stay here very long. So our posture affects our state. Our intent affects our state. So as we wake things up, as like Sean said, we're going to do things with our chakras, our energy system, our brain to get ready for today. Set your intention. Take a few seconds right now. Louise, thank you for taking a deep breath and reminding me. Take a deep breath. Set your intention for these next 2.5 hours. All right. If you would, and if you're able, please stand with me. Oh, I feel like I'm in church. Please stand. And we are going to carry that intention through something, a body movement called cross crawls. Those of you who have been on screen with me before, you know already what this is. Thank you, Christina. We're going to put our arms out to our sides, keeping our intention at the forefront. Take your right arm and connect that with your left knee, left arm to right knee, and you keep these going. If you're not able to stand, or if you're in a place where you would look really silly and they would kick you out, you can do this seated on a chair. Very, very indiscriminately. You can sit and just raise your knees just a little bit. It's the cross body going over the corpus callosum in the brain, getting the central nervous system. Oh, you all look great. Keeping our intention there. All right. So stay standing for me. We did some of these yesterday, and I want to do them again. And one of the reasons is so that you see it again, you experience it again, because this could be implemented in your routine when you wake up in the morning. If you're having a stressful morning and you need to just go in the bathroom and take a minute for yourself. I want to show you these again. We're going to do these again together. So one hand, fingers flat together over the navel, over your belly button, and then 2 fingers and a thumb. We're going to find those K27 points. Isn't it nice I wore a necklace again? So just right here beneath the collarbone, right on the corners, 2 fingers and a thumb. You're going to rub with your hand over your belly button, rub these fingers. These are our switch-ons. So we're looking for energetic reversals. We want our energy flowing the right direction. Just had a picture of, you can go ahead and switch your other hand over your navel, 2 fingers and a thumb, rub. I just had a picture of a salmon swimming upstream. If our energy is flowing the wrong way, whew, it can be exhausting. We don't even know why we're exhausted. So confusion, scatterbrained, if we find ourselves saying the wrong word, that happens to me sometimes. Okay, so you're going to keep this hand over your navel. We're going to keep the 2 fingers and a thumb. And this is the duck one. So top lip, bottom lip, back and forth. Working with that governing vessel, governing meridian. Making sure the energy is flowing the right way. It's hard to talk and do this. Go ahead and switch hands. 2 fingers and a thumb. Now, those of you who were on yesterday, you know what's coming. The one we don't do in public. All right. So now 2 fingers, top of the, keeping this hand over the belly button. 2 fingers on top of the tailbone, up and down. This is the other side of our governing meridian, governing vessel. Oh, that's the one I needed. All right. Switch hands. This side. This is resetting our system. Any learning, this is so good. Before any learning, someplace where you want to retain information. All right, you can have a seat. We're going to wake up our ears. By waking up our ears, we're going to be affecting all of our organ systems. I put my book away. I can't show the auricular points, but every organ, every part of our body is connected to our ears. So starting by rubbing where the ears can, oh, stop. Because I love this part. With your awareness on range of motion, look to the right. Oh boy, tight this morning. Look to the left. So just getting that idea of where your range of motion is. Okay, now come back to your ears. Rub where they're connected to your head. We're ready to listen, ready to have our systems ready. Now we're going to fold the corners, fold them open. That doesn't really make sense. We're going to open the folds. There we go. With some good pressure. Ears might be getting a little red. Now actually putting a finger in the ear, pulling down, looping it around like the letter J. Ooh, makes me want to go get a massage. All right, going back to where the ear meets the head. And go ahead and start uncurling, opening up those ears, moving that around. Pulling on the earlobes. This is the reflex point for the brain. Ooh, that feels really good. My brain must need extra work this morning. Finger in, pulling down and back, down and forward. All right. So now looking to the right. Ooh, way more range of motion for me. Looking to the left. All right. So now we have our organ systems open, our ears are open, And now we're going to make sure that any energy from the morning, from the night, from yesterday isn't still stuck in our bodies. And we're going to give our solar panels, our chakras, a little balance this morning. So you can do this sitting or standing. I love to do this standing because I feel more grounded with my feet solid on the floor. So fingers closed, we're going to keep all the energy in the fingers. We're going to start from lap to lip, coming up, bringing that energy and getting it out. We're going to do this 3 times. So lap is starting at the root chakra, going up to the top of that governing meridian. So that was lap to lip. And now we're going to go lap to crown all the way through our chakras. Again, 3 times. And 3. Does anyone have anything stuck? Anything that doesn't feel quite right? Or is everyone ready to go? Ready to listen, learn, find our purpose? Thanks, Diane, for the thumbs up.
Why
All right.
3 times? Christina asked why 3 times.
That's a great question, Christina. 3 is a number that's used a lot in repetition. I was reading Michelle's comment. So 3, 8, 10. Numerology, we could get it because it works best when we do it 3 times. And I'll create a program around the long answer for that. How's that? Okay. So Michelle, as you're sitting here, go ahead and do a little more with the ears and focusing on right above where the earlobe. So if the earlobe is our brain and this is the spine, if you gently, not too hard, I've just heard gently for you, just keep working right here with your intent of whatever emotions are there. With ease and grace, they're going to float right out and you'll be great. The end.
I love it, love it, love it. Outstanding. Just checking on Daniela. I know she's got some amazing things. Drop a 1 if you're ready, or you can turn your screen on, or if you need to come back. So the conversation that I want to have today, the dialogue today, is this idea of having your awareness of your own success. And in doing that, what that creates for you is this idea, this awareness that you have starts to activate your reticular activating system. And when you begin to understand and fully function in your state of awareness, you can have some amazing things happen. So here's my question to you. Anybody ever know somebody that's been in an accident and maybe up north, you were having this opportunity and this ability to slow everything down? Anybody ever have anything where it slowed way down when things were really going fast? That's all right, Daniela. No worries. No worries. I got you. So don't worry about it. Well, if you come back in here in a little bit after, maybe it's wrapping up the session today around if that's available, 12:30, 1:30 for you. So we'll figure it out. So all that being said, understand this. Resilience is the key. Resilience is the key to being able to deal with opportunities. How many of us need to be resilient as it relates to success? Kind of odd. What do you mean resilient to success? I want you to think about that for just a second. What would it mean to be resilient, the ability to bounce back? This idea of being resilient to success, being resilient to your self-talk, there's a part of you that always gets challenged. One of the things I just learned this recently, the last 24 hours, I didn't learn it. I was able to adapt it and apply it to what I do in a whole different way. They're talking about running current through a body to find out where the body's got some issues. The point of the conversation is that they run enough current through that it doesn't damage anything that's in proximity to the current. My point is this idea of being resilient, this resilience that you have, this resilience that you want, this resilience that you want to have, we're not resilient to success. How do we know anything is successful? How do we know anything's a failure? How do we know anything is happy? How do we know anything is sad? It's where it takes us off our center. I get accused a lot of times of being a wildly positive person. Do you want to know from my perspective? I don't consider myself a wildly positive person. A wildly positive, I don't consider myself that person. Why? Because that's my standard. There's times where I get really excited and I get so excited and people are like, oh my gosh, he's over the top. And then there's other times when I get frustrated and I say, hey, how's everybody doing? Who's got a topic for me? Because I ain't got nothing. Because my mind's not working right and I need some help. So the point of the conversation is about building resilience, is the ability to bounce back. When we use this idea of resilience, we talk about the conversation. The conversation's about bouncing back from the bad, right? How many of you have ever heard anybody say, well, you need to be more resilient to your success? And 30 years, 40 years of me doing this, I haven't heard anybody explain or teach or do a training on, let's be more resilient to our success. What are we bouncing back from in failure? When we get failure, we're bouncing back to what? To average. When we get successful and we come back to average, why aren't we resilient to bounce back up to success? This is called a new neural pattern inside the brain. How many of you are a little bit struggling with it? You don't have to say anything, but if you're struggling with the idea of being resilient towards your success, it's like, I don't understand that. Why, when you come back to average, don't you immediately back up to wild and joyful and peaceful and amazing and incredible and fantastic and over the top? Why don't you bounce back up there? Because your average ain't got no bounce, baby. Your average ain't got no bounce, right? We bounce back from failure. Whoa, failure, boom, woo, back to average. We go to success, woo, we bounce back to average and there ain't no bounce. Any of you ever play basketball? If you ever played basketball, did you ever hit the dead floor on the floor? The dead spot on the floor? Dude, boom, and the ball just stays there. Ain't got no bounce, baby. It's like my booty. There ain't no booty. It ain't got no bounce. It ain't got no shake. Your average ain't got no bounce. See, I know I hit a nerve because all the ladies are smiling, going, oh, there goes Sean trying to be funny again. Trying to be hip with the jiggy. However that goes. So I'll just stop right there. So inside the workbook, getting jiggy with it. Yeah, I said that. On page 29, it says, well, let me go to page 28. Michelle reminded me, page 28. Resilience is an essential step in your purpose-driven journeys, preparing you to face the challenges with strength and perseverance. Think about this for a second. What is the strength and perseverance you need to face when you're bouncing back from success? The strength you need is to know that it's effortless. The strength you need, the persistence you need to know is to get back into state. See, when we come off of a high, oh my God, today was so amazing. How's today? Lower than whale poop at the bottom of the ocean. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. Lower than snake turds in a wagon rut. What are you saying? My point is that when we come back from the high and the next day, all of a sudden we're back to average or below, Bob Proctor talks about it, right? Setting the thermostat. If we set the thermostat and we set it to 70 degrees and we put it on auto, think about it. We put it on auto. What happens when we put the thermostat on auto? If it gets too hot, what does it do? It turns on the AC and cools it down. If it gets too cold, it turns on the heat and warms it back up to what? To our setting. When we talk about resilience, the resilience is to bounce back up to the higher, not bounce back up from lower to average. How can you start jumping and doing amber stuff and bouncing from low to high? It's a state change. Joseph McClendon III, the neuroencoding trainer that trained me, talks about this ability to understand how we move our body. There's something he literally, while you're all sitting, here's what I want you to do. Harvard did a study, and they said, if you shake your hips, go ahead, shake your hips while you're sitting. Watch the faces on the screen. Getting jiggy with it, getting jiggy with it. He called it, and Harvard allowed him to come up with the name assitude. Your assitude will determine your attitude. Shake that thing. Like that thing your mama gave you. I don't know where the song goes. My point is that this resilience, we need to be bouncing up, not bouncing back. What happens if all of a sudden average is your launching point? What happens if average is the place you can spring from? Isn't that where you're going to spring from? This place that's not your comfort zone. It's the comfortable, painful zone that you've become accustomed to. So how do you build this resilience? Well, I can tell you based from day one, the previous recording, the other recording you need to listen to if you haven't been there, is when you set your vision. Is your vision going to allow you to see things different than you did today, than you would today? Your vision, if you started to focus on your vision, wouldn't you see things different than you would normally see? Bing, bouncing up. If you set your self-talk, if you set your addiction to approval, you turn it down a notch. If you turn your addiction to approval down a notch, with your clear vision, your DMP, it's going to automatically lower. And if you're not worried about what other people say to you every single time you open your mouth, do you think you'd do more? Do you think you'd be aware of more of your success? Do you think you'd be more complimentary to yourself? Bing! Up from average, resilience. See, some of us are just resilient. Man, you could have a mouthful of poo and never say a word, and you just put up with it. You deal with it. How many people have ever said to you, man, I don't know how you deal with that? That's because you're resilient. I'm talking about building resilience. Putting the sprint. How many of you know Winnie the Pooh? Who knows Tigger? Tigger, they're a wonderful thing. The thingy, Tigger, they're a wonderful thing. And bouncing, right? And Tigger, what if you became Tigger? What if you became the Tigger of your trials, of your challenges? What if every time a project, right, turn a problem into a project, you came along and go, Tigger, they're a wonderful thing, a bounty, right? So how do you develop a resilient mindset? Learn strategies to cultivate a mindset that embraces challenges and sees them as opportunities. And when we're so somebody in the comments, for those of you watching the videos, somebody in the comments, Derek said, my doctor said we always need to be in motion. Here's the neat thing about being in motion. We create a field of magnetism around us. And when you create the field of magnetism around us, the thing you are seeking that's seeking you shows up a heck of a lot faster. It's kind of like when we watch the spy movies and we go, well, did you put the bug on the car? Did you put the tracker on their car? I can't read it. Well, we got to get a signal. Is the signal showed up? And all of a sudden on the radar screen, bing, and you know right where to go. You move your body and all of a sudden, bing, the universe goes, there they are. And Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, you'll wonder where all of this abundance comes from when you couldn't see any of it during all the lean times. Because your transponder, your resilience wasn't on to give them an idea of where you're jumping, where you're moving. So a couple of questions. What does resilience mean to you, and why do you think it's vital, right? What do they say? Give me your vital signs. They don't go say, hey, listen, what's your zodiac sign? They don't ask that at the hospital. Oh, you're a Pisces. You must be underwater. Very good, very good, very good. All right. You're a Taurus. Oh, you must be full of bull. Anyway, so on with the program. The point is that when we ask your vital, why is a resilience vital to your existence? It's your ability to expand. Reflect on a time when you faced a significant challenge. How did you respond? And what did you learn about your level of resilience? What tools? Somebody type in the chat. What's a tool or technique that you resonate with that you could use most for building your resilience? What's a tool you could use or a technique you could use? Rubber band, mind over tapping is a great thing. Tapping is an amazing thing. Gratitude, breath work. Absolutely. You see, you've already got stuff in your toolbox. My bride always calls it the toolbox. Have you gone to your toolbox? What tools are in your toolbox? Some of you remember from yesterday, right? This move, just that simple move, right? There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. But doing that, pulling on your ears, opening your ears, right? Doing these simple things, we have all of these tools to create more resilience in our body. Do you think if you had more resilience, drop a Y for yes or an N for no, if you had more resilience, do you think you'd be able to do better at your income producing activities? A Y for yes or an N for no. Wouldn't this be something you'd need to work on then? And in order to build your resistance, wouldn't it also include everything we talked about previously? This is why I'm so excited about this journey called the Purpose Driven Payday, that there's steps involved. Everybody wants strategies. How? Okay, work on your self-talk. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, here's another strategy you could use. Work on your addiction to approval. You mean don't let people's opinions bother me? I don't want to work on that. Okay, so far you're 2 for 2. Next pitch. You want the next pitch? I can pretty much sure it's going to strike you out. You've got to deal with your neuroencoding, the way you have thoughts at 80,000 thoughts a day, 60,000 thoughts are repeats, and 51,200 thoughts are not in your favor. You got to do more meditation. You've got to find more time to have a conversation with yourself where you're not beating yourself up. Listen, Google has an amazing resource of information. You can't swing a cat without hitting some kind of video on YouTube that says 787 hertz to relieve hemorrhoids, to 772 to do this. It's all of the videos are there. All of the videos are there. Why isn't it working for you? If I gave you a check for $1 million, listen carefully. Don't get ahead of me. If I gave you a check for $1 million, would that change your life? Listen, I just gave you a check for $1 million. That's it. It ends right there. A check for $1 million. Does your life change? No, it does not. It doesn't change until you do what? Until you cash it. Even then, it doesn't change. Until you do what? Until you begin to spend it. Some of you have wild resources inside of you. You haven't cashed. You haven't, what do you call it when you sign the check? Somebody type in the chat. What is it called when you sign the check and what does it mean? It's not validated. Maybe it is. Endorse it. Some of you haven't endorsed your own success. Right? What were we all wishing we had of Michael Jordan's? His Nike endorsement. Why do sports athletes get endorsements? Why do singers get endorsements? Why do actors get endorsements? They sign over their product to them because they can do something with it. They can expand upon it. So here we are, the third quarter of the month, the third quarter of the year. In the next quarter, in the next 3 months, watching this recording live now, in the next 3 months, how much money would you realistically believe you can make? That would be a stretch, but it would be confirmation that you've done some good things. So write that number down. Excellent. So write yourself a check right now. Write it on a piece of paper. You realize you can write a check on a piece of paper. Write a check right now for $50,000. And then endorse it. See, some of us we put all of the checks out there. We put all of the things out there, but we never validate it. We never endorse it. Yeah, but what date is it supposed to cash, Christina? What's the date it's supposed to cash? On or before when? Does it say in the thing? Payment on or before when? Ah, sassafrassa, riggedy, rackety. My point is this. Start to endorse yourself. Start to give yourself a contract for performance. Start to give yourself this resilience of having more. Make sense? So, understanding resilience, and when you understand resilience, here's the neat thing about what's next. Number 8, page 31, is the prosperity shift. I swear to goodness, in the workbook, I put all of the right stuff. I don't know why this has facing fears. This is Murphy's Law. This is me. This is me being challenged, standing here right in front of you, looking at the workbook going, well, you know, that's probably... No, that's not the conversation on prosperity shift. I gotta have an old workbook, but it doesn't look like it. So prosperity shift. This is key because now all of a sudden, what if all of a sudden, anybody ever work swing shift? Anybody know what swing shift is? Swing shift is where you go on for this and then you swing, and sometimes you're in days, sometimes you're nights. What if all of a sudden you had to have your day start at 10 p.m. and it go to 10 a.m.? How many of you, it might take a little bit of a shift to do that? Just take a guess. If you were to do a shift from waking up at 6 a.m. and going to bed at 10 p.m., what would it change? What would change if all of a sudden you woke up at 10 p.m. and went till 6 a.m. noon? What would change? Would you be grumpy the first day you woke up and go, oh, I slept so terrible? Would you be tired? What if all of a sudden they said, if you could do that for the next 30 days without complaining, you'd get $1 million? How many of you might shift your state? How many of you, $1 million, and every day you got a portion of it, right? Every day you got a portion of it, not the full day's pay, but you got a portion of it so that you could see some tangible reward. $1 million over 30 days. Well, that's a lot. So maybe you got $20,000 the first day to not complain. Would that be enough for you to say, I ain't complaining ever again? All I'm saying is that prosperity shift is even more difficult. Prosperity shift is even more difficult. And the reason it's more difficult is because it happens in here. It's dealing with the 24 hours a day that you have, that you're dealing with your own mindset. You're dealing with your own conversation. And you're dealing with these words in your life that say, am I worthy? Do I have enough? And this prosperity shift allows you to take yourself from this place to the new place. Somebody type in the chat, what would be a shift in your prosperity? What would be a prosperity mind shift? What would be something you could start right now while we're in the throes of this presentation, the throes of this challenge? What's a prosperity shift you could implement right now? You could start. I'd love to see everybody type it, because if you're not going to type it, go make some coffee. You're not engaged. This is one of the prosperity shifts, is paying attention and participating. Yes, I'm calling you out. And if you're watching this recording and go, he's being a jerk. Capital J, capital E, capital, how the rest of you spell jerk, I don't know. So define what the action would be. I know I love the action. I love the action. But what would the action be? So all that being said, prosperity shift gives you a chance to understand why and how you need to do this. Let me ask you this. What about hanging around individuals who are prosperous? What about listening for the secret that you can bring into your life that you didn't have available to you before? Rather than listening to somebody and going, oh, I can't do that. I've heard this before. I wonder why they're saying that again. What would be the prosperity shift? They say that the general population spends about 80% of their day talking about finances. The price of milk, how much gas costs, why they can't do this. 80% of their time is, and when you start to hear it, oh, I used to have a car like that. I paid $2,500 for it. I couldn't afford a new car. I'd like to afford a new car. I'm good with my old car. I'm good with this. I'm do that. I do this. I do that. 80% of their time is spent talking, right? What's the Pareto principle? 80-20 rule. 80% of your, 20% of the things you do creates 80% of your income. And 80% of what you do creates 20% of your income. 80% of your challenges, 80% of your health, all of these conversations. So if there's a prosperity shift, how do you elevate your words? How do you elevate your words? Thanks, Nancy, for sharing. And Ashanda Nevens, thank you for commenting. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So what's a shift in your language about prosperity? What's your daily talk? What's your affirmations around prosperity? We had a conversation last night in the VIP dialogue. By the way, if you'd still like to upgrade to that, just throwing it out there. You can go back to the dashboard and there's a link there that says upgrade to VIP, and you'll get the conversation of the VIP dialogue we had last night. What happens if you all of a sudden change your affirmations, your prosperity conversation based upon your chakras? I am prosperous. We all say that, I am prosperous. I am prosperous. But the rest of your chakras are going, oh, if you only believed it. But then you get your chakras in alignment, right? You do that tail rub, you get some things heated up back there. Probably not something you walk around doing all the time, but you do that. And all of a sudden what happens is that I am prosperous. I feel prosperous, sacral, solar plexus. I do prosperity. Somebody type in the chat, what would it mean for you to do prosperity? What would you do with a prosperity mindset? What could you do with a prosperity mindset? Type it in the chat. Give more. Excellent. Could you give more from prosperity than from lack? Absolutely. What would be something, travel more? You could travel more prosperity. Could you buy, listen, y'all ready? You ready for this? How many of you plan on buying groceries in the next week? Could you buy groceries more prosperously? How many of you have to pump gas? Maybe you got somebody that can pump gas for you, but if you were going to pump gas, could you pump gas with prosperity? How many of you have to discipline somebody? Could you discipline with prosperity? Would that change the way you have a conversation with somebody you need to correct, somebody you need to adjust their attitude? Could you adjust their attitude with prosperity? Kind of a different concept, isn't it? Drop a 1 if that's like way different. Nobody's ever told me to discipline prosperity, shop prosperity, pump gas prosperously. Listen, here's the thing. If anybody's up for it, I'd be cool because I've done it and I know the result. I'd love to see your result. Could you imagine pumping your gas with gratitude and joy? Do you think your car would get better mileage? Just saying. You're expecting crazier things to happen. You're expecting aliens to come down and drop prosperity on your lap. They already have. All right, next topic. That's prosperity shift. Make the shift in prosperity so that when you have this awakening and you have this awareness, you can understand what it means to come alive. So, networking mastery. How many of you have heard this phrase? You can determine the size of somebody's net worth by the size of their network. How do you know how big your network is? Well, you could do one thing. You can go into, I've got an iPhone. You can go into your iPhone, go into your contacts, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it has a number there. Anybody have an iPhone? Crack open your iPhone, go to your contacts and scroll down. Go see how many contacts you have in your, how many people you got in your contact list. Then my question to you is how many of those people know the business you're in? How many of you believe that there's people on your list that could benefit from your prospect, from your information? You put them in there somehow. Maybe it was a carryover from another phone. But networking mastery is critical in your purpose-driven payday. Because what does everybody need? We need customers. I happen to be in a business model. Some of you may happen to be in a business model called mentors leading mentors. Moms loving moms. Making lasting money. MLM, me loving more. I happen to be in that powerful profession. So I have the ability to give myself a pay increase. What does it take for you to get a pay increase when you're doing a traditional job? You've got to wait on them to decide their profitability and the timing. Pay increases are awesome. Wouldn't it be great if you could control yours? Networking mastery allows you to do that. Seth Godin says, got 1,000 raving fans, you'd never have to work another day. Because if you had 1,000 raving fans, you'd be willing to serve them. There's a big difference between working and service. How many of you love going to do some volunteer work? Maybe you don't have enough time to do it, but you love doing volunteer work. You love doing volunteer work. You love giving money to the right charity. All of this is to say, Bob Proctor says, you got a right to be rich. You need to be rich. Wallace D. Wattles says you need to be rich. Listen, it is a sin. Listen carefully. Wallace D. Wattles, preacher, said, it's a sin if there's talents, techniques, and tools that you would have available to you, that if it would take money to use them and you can't use them, you can't access them, you're not living up to your potential. I learned in Catholic school, God's gift to us was more talent and skills than we could ever have. And our gift back was to develop as many as we could. We have a right to be rich. You have a right to be rich. Networking gives you that access, gives you a pathway to those riches. So, where could you go build your network? Is 25,000 followers on TikTok your network? What's your network on any social media platform? There is a network. You do have a network on your social media platform. Anybody know what it is? It's the ones who engage. That is your active network. And when you put up a new post or do a new live, do you wind up with more? Do you wind up with more people than you thought watching it, clicking like? Because it's new. You're doing something new. You're doing something different. You're having a prosperity shift and they want to be a part of it. So your active network on social media should be people you engage with. I do a lot with marketing. And in my marketing, in my communities, in the masterminds that I'm a part of and that I hold, we always talk about getting them offline. You got to get your online offline so you can talk to them. How many of you know somebody who had a Facebook account that had a bazillion people in it and it got shut down and they lost all the contacts? They had a Facebook group and the Facebook group got closed. They had a TikTok account and it got shut down. We see people on different platforms going, I'm in TikTok jail, while they're talking on Instagram. They're on TikTok saying, I'm in Instagram jail. Well, why don't you build your own free penitentiary? It's called an email list. And part of understanding your network mastery is to Jim Rohn. If you know Jim Rohn, it's probably, unless you were in Herbalife, if you know Jim Rohn, it's because of one man, Kyle Wilson. But nobody knows who Kyle Wilson is. Kyle Wilson was Jim Rohn's international business partner for 18 years. He was the president of Jim Rohn International. Kyle's a marketing genius. He's helped all of the names that you know. Mark Victor Hansen, Nito Cobain. He's helped Bob Proctor. He's helped all of these people with their marketing. And here's the key in networking mastery. Find your secret sauce. I have an academy around that. Find your secret sauce and then find ways to let them come interact with you. Email, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then communicate with them. Kyle says, find your audience, build your audience, talk to them, and then give them a chance to raise their hand. Some of the people in your audience aren't signing up, aren't moving forward because you're not asking them, hey, who wants to do more with me? Well, I don't know what I would say to them. I don't know what they would do more with me. What? I get it. Got to find your secret sauce. Your secret sauce is that thing that you do so well, people wish they could do half as well. Understanding that the key to building your network is providing value. Here's an easy way to provide value. If some of you, maybe you've heard of this term called a tripwire or a lead magnet. It doesn't always have to be original content. The philosophy and the organization of the Purpose Driven Payday that I have is my content. But there's nothing new there. I got the term from Barry Baumgartner. They do their the virtual event on virtual events. And she talks about, I want to help entrepreneurs through events, through virtual events just like this, have their purpose-driven payday. So I borrowed the purpose-driven payday from Barry Baumgartner. I'm acting on it and putting it in play here inside the purpose-driven payday designed by me. And those of you that are watching this, those of you that are here in the recording in the Zoom room, you're part of my network now. What can you do to go build your network? One of the other things that you could learn to do is it's called a CTA. Somebody type in the chat if you know what a CTA is. Most of you should hear. That CTA, yep, call to action. If you want to build your network, have a call to action. Could you imagine, any of you like to fish, or anybody of you know somebody that fishes? So if you like to fish, you know somebody that fishes, could you imagine this major, amazing fisherman, fisher person, fisher woman, I'm not sure what the terminology is now, But this fisherman goes out to go fishing, and they get in the boat, but they ain't got a pole. Are they fishing, or are they out for a boat ride? If you're not out fishing with your fishing pole, your CTA, if you're not out fishing with your fishing pole, your CTA, you're out for a boat ride. And you wonder why you're hungry. There's no fish in the boat because you didn't give them your CTA, your call to action. I had a very good friend of mine who's a marketing genius said, don't have any dead end marketing as you build your network. You want to build your network, you got to get people on your list. Don't have dead end marketing. Dead end marketing is when you go, oh my gosh, here's the 7 steps to alleviating your body of the C word. And you give this and that. And my God, everyone works, everything works. All of the 7 steps are genius. All right, bye everybody. Wait, I want more. Sorry, you can't get more. I just provide value. I just like to serve people. People are going to stop coming around because they can't reward you with their payments. They can't reward you with their desire to want more. So here's a question for you in your networking. Page 35. It's a tough question. Who are the individuals or groups you wish you could connect with? Who's somebody that's on your bucket list? You're kind of their arm's reach away in your niche, in your market, in your environment that you would love to be able to connect with. Have you reached out to them? Got to send them a text message. I see you got to send them a message on. So here's a question, Ed Milet. Valuable person, right? What could you find out about him that would allow you to become valuable to him? Do you know somebody who knows him? Not me. I don't know Ed. What if you could ask Jesse and you reached out to Jesse and you said, what would be something I could say to Ed that would be of service to him and be of value to you? Isn't that networking? Didn't we just do a major networking conversation right there? You could even say this. I was on a training with Sean and we were talking about Ed, and I said he would be an icon for me. And Sean said I should reach out to you, Jesse, and see how I can serve Ed. Yep. So, all that being said, this is how you build networks. How many of you have heard we're 6 people away from Brian Pitt? What's his name? Brad Pitt? Is that who we're 6 people away from? Brad Pitt. Brian Pitt, somebody. Brian Pitt's the guy that changes the oil in my car. Brad is Kevin Bacon. That's it. It's not even Brad Pitt. It's Kevin Bacon. Kevin Salami. We're 6 people away from Kevin Salami. We do lunch together. Listen, anybody could do this. It's just a high step up and go get it done. Reflect on, so page 36, reflect on how networking mastery can accelerate your purpose-driven journey. What would networking mastery do to accelerate it? How will you leverage your network to achieve your goals and create multiple benefits? How will it create multiple benefits for you? Just making sense? So, real quick, lots of heady stuff, lots of I'm not good enough, lots of I don't know what I'm doing, lots of this seems over my head. I guess I got to learn more. I'm going to call in the body amazing soul to help us unwind and unlock and repack some of this. So, Amber, Swally, Kanik, back to throwing the life rings out.
All right. So I love that Sean was just saying head, in our head, in our head. I was hoping that I would have an opportunity to do this today. We're going to start with this word energy, because that wasn't a word that I was comfortable with for a really long time until I realized everything is energy. So I call this, it reminds me of the Mr. Miyagi move on the Karate Kid movie. So rub your hands together, get some friction going. And then when you feel that heat, when you feel that friction, stop and then really slowly pull your hands apart. And do you feel anything in between? Do you feel the heat? Do you feel tingling? Do you feel almost a pressure? And if you don't, it's okay. This takes practice sometimes, so you can do it again until you feel it. You have energy in your hands all the time. Sharon, I love what you're doing right now with your head. You're taking that energy that you just created and you're putting it on your head. You can do this on any part of your body. Michelle put in the chat earlier when we were done with our initial moves that the base of her neck was still stiff. You can do this, get some energy and put that back there. So now with the intent that we have these energy centers in our hands, health and healing and love and all the things, we're going to do something called the crown pull. So this is going to help get everything that's stuck up in the head to just start flowing through our body. So I use about my 3 middle fingers, starting right above the eyes, not too much pressure and firm at the same time. Push in, and you're going to pull out about 1 inch. And then you move up, push in, pull out about 1 inch. Oh, and you're all muted, so you can make all the sounds like, oh, that feels so good. I will try not to do that. And just keep moving up, pulling. We're going to go all the way to the base of the neck. If you get to a spot that you feel extra tenderness, some might even say pain, you can just hang out there a little bit. Again, our intention is we are energetically opening up everything with the brain, the head, the crown chakra, right? Our connection to the divine, our understanding, our knowing, opening that up. I would love everyone to take your hands off your head for just a moment. So you all experienced the difference now with doing the crown pull. I would love you all to bring your awareness to your feet for just a moment. If they're not flat on the floor, put them flat on the floor. And breathe in the energy of the earth. Bring the energy in up through the bottom of your feet. If you've never heard anything like that before, and that sounds absolutely crazy, pretend you know how to do it. Bring in the energy of the earth, being grounded to the earth. If you want something more analytical, put your feet firmly on the ground. Now, take your hands again and do the crown pull. Be aware if this feels any different this time. Are you able to go a little faster? Do you feel the need to go a little slower? Now that you're grounded to a source, my source is in everything, so I feel him in everything. Grounded to a source, does this crown pull feel any different? Taking a deep breath in. And we're going to end this with our hookup. So if you were with us yesterday, you crossed one ankle over the other. Consciously, if you can, switch your feet. So the other ankle goes on top of the other one. If you weren't with us yesterday, just cross an ankle over the other. And so if you put one wrist over the other yesterday, put the other wrist on top, interlace your fingers, drop that in your lap or roll it up. Closing our eyes, taking a deep breath in to release whatever doesn't serve us, to bring in more focus, more clarity, the ability to retain and gather all this wonderful information. And another deep breath, in and out. And you can let go of your hands, or you can just sit there for a while.
So Amber, I got a question for you.
Sure.
There's going to be people as they watch the recording and watch the replay, they may not want to participate because they don't think they're part of the live event. Why would it be so valuable for them to participate in all of these actions that I ask you to do and that you graciously share with us? What will it do for them, even though it's the recording? What will be the benefit for them?
So the benefit is going to be the same, whether you are here live with us, or you're watching this tomorrow, or it's 2035 and you found this video. The benefit is the same. The level up from that is getting into a habit of learning adding this to your toolbox. So we're all not gonna, well, some of us do join together every day on a call at a certain time. We don't do these kinds of things every day. Oh, hey, anyway, that might be a conversation for another time. It's to be able to have these in your toolbox. So there's a benefit from doing it now immediately, and there's a benefit to adding this as a tool.
Because even though they're watching the recording as they're doing the guidance and doing the work on themselves, they themselves are live and alive. So that's the power of these tools and techniques. So I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And the conversation that now goes forward, y'all drop some hearts in the chat for Amber. Drop some hearts in the chat for her. I want to go on to continuous learning, but I also want to just check in because I can't go off of this screen, and I don't have another screen where I can see the rest of you. Dee, are you available? You want to go now, or just type in the chat when you would like to participate and do some gratitude stuff? Look at all the hearts for Amber. So cool. I love it, love it, love it. All right. So continue.
Could I say one?
Go ahead.
Here?
So one of the things, and Christina, I made you co-host to help with any of the ancillary conversations. So continuous learning, page 37 in the workbook, page 37 in the workbook, page 37 in the workbook. Continuous learning is an essential pillar. Now we all do continuous learning. Here's the thing. I want you to draw a circle on your paper. Draw a circle in your notes. Doesn't have to be a big circle. Doesn't have to be a big circle. Inside that circle is everything, everything, everything you know. Inside that circle is everything that you know. Now I want you to draw a dot about how much you know about your purpose, or draw a circle inside that circle of everything you know. Draw the circle of your purpose. You ready for an interesting visual? How many of you, your purpose dot was at least half the size, filled up half of the volume of your everything you know circus? Dr. Freud to the lobby. Dr. Freud to the lobby. The circus is going on. How many of you, your circle of your purpose more than filled up half of your everything you know? Jim Rohn would say, that's a clue. Jim Rohn would say, that's a clue. Are you not focused on your purpose? How many of you, your purpose was a dot? It was maybe just a little bit bigger than the point of the pen. Now, here's the thing. I want you to go to that dot on your purpose. Follow me on this. Y'all follow me on this? This is yes. Just nod your head. And okay, so now you have your dot of your purpose. Do you realize that everything inside the dot is what you know about your purpose? Everything outside the dot of your purpose is everything that you're aware of. and then go to the big circle, everything outside that circle is everything you know nothing about. So here's my question for you. Which is bigger, everything you know nothing about or everything that you know? Which is the biggest area? Everything that you don't know or all that you do know? So now here's what happens. If there's nothing but space out here, how many of you have ever tried to, my mom would say, try to fit 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack called your jeans. And it just kind of squishes around. But when you take it off, it's like, oh, woo, let him breathe. How many of you have ever tried to contain a balloon, right? And you're trying to fit it in and it's squishing in, it takes the shape of the form. Here's the challenge with expanding your knowledge. You ready? Here's the challenge with doing continuous learning. You ready? Are there any boundaries on the nothingness you don't know? So when you start to spill over into that nothingness, what's to stop you? So how many of us have learned some things and gone down some rabbit holes we didn't really need to go down? How many of us have 72 hours of PhD and TikTok scrolling that's never going to serve us in our life? So now the question becomes this: what does continuous learning really look like? What does it really feel like? What does it sound like? What are you going to continuously learn about? Wouldn't this make sense from the awakening? The moment you wake up, aren't you going to learn some stuff you didn't know? Wouldn't it make sense from the very moment you wake up, you're awakening, to decide, what am I going to learn today? I teach my students to ask 3 questions before they go to sleep at night. What did I do well? What might I have done a little bit better? Then what talent, skill, or resource do I need to come into my life? So when you wake up tomorrow, all night long, your reticular activating system, your RAS, your reticular activating system, the thing that you're seeking, the thing that is looking to justify your thoughts, your knowledge, your wisdom, your wants, is activated. And all of a sudden you start to come into harmonic vibration with all of the things. And you say things like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened today. You won't believe who I met today. Oh my gosh, I had this breakthrough. No, you didn't have this breakthrough. You had this relief of non-vibrational, non-harmony vibration. Not a breakthrough. We call it that. Why are breakthroughs so tough? They're not tough. It's vibration. It's a shift in vibration. So, all that being said, continuous learning is understanding that skills and intelligence can be developed and cultivate a love for learning. What would you love to learn more about? Type it in the chat. What would you love to learn more about? And be honest. Don't be airy-fairy going, I'd like to learn more about, if you want to learn how to plant oak trees, say, I'd love to learn how to plant oak trees. I'd love to learn how to apply what I need to learn. I'd love the application of my current awareness. So all that being said, we have to, page 37, identify learning opportunities, recognizing formal and informal learning paths that align with your goals, such as courses, mentors, self-study, and practical experiences. How many of you have journals that you've kept? How many of you have read your journals that you've kept? Ray Higdon calls them your uncashed checks. How many of you have millions of dollars sitting in some notebooks? Do you think if you read your notebooks now, you would read them different than when you wrote them? Do you think you would read them different than when you wrote them? Do you think, how many of you think that you time traveled? You go from the future back to the past and you go, oh my gosh, I've got the nugget. Here's the nugget. Here's what you could do with this. And you take that nugget and you time travel back to the present and you implement it, because there's a whole bunch you haven't implemented. Drop a B in the chat if there's a bunch you haven't implemented. So, creating a personalized learning plan. How much of your day do you spend on sharpening your saw? Some of you are on the morning call with me, so there's an hour. You're sharpening your saw on the morning call. Where do you do the application of it? This is the same thing as meditation, right? We need to set a time. We need to set a schedule. We need to have a particular moment for us to be able to do the things we need to do so we can have the things we want. A lot of times when we see people who are successful, what do they say about leaders? Leaders are what? Leaders are readers. Leaders are learners. What's the thing that we really need to do to become a continuous learner? I was taught very early on, read 10 pages of a good book every day. If you spend 18 minutes a day, you'll be in the top 5% of the income of your particular niche that you're reading it. I'm going to encourage you, don't read about Fabio unless you're going to go write romance novels, right? Go read about the things you need to sharpen your skills on, you need to become aware of. Good Lord, we now have ChatGPT. You could get lost in ChatGPT. You know why it's hard for some people to use that as a continuous learning device? It's because they don't know the questions to ask to serve themselves to get better. It's AI. I'm scared of AI. Listen, AI's here. Sorry. It ain't going away. So I get good friends with it so that when it does take over the world, at least they'll go, oh, you're the nice one that was talking to me in ChatGPT. I don't know. What I'm saying is that the key is to understand, to sharpen your saw. Spend 10 minutes a day. Spend 10 minutes a day to understand, to sharpen your skill, to sharpen your saw so that you can get better at a particular niche. So questions on continuous learning, page 38. What does continuous learning mean to you, and why is it important for your purpose-driven journey? I'm going to ask you to spend some time to answer these questions. They're designed to help you move forward in such a way that allows you to have access. And if you haven't downloaded the workbook, you can go back to the dashboard where you signed in, where it said Purpose Driven Payday Session 2. On the resource section, scroll down to the right. Oh, by the way, yesterday's video, yesterday's session, the whole session, the 3 hours, is up on the blog section of the dashboard. You'll see it. You'll scroll down there and you'll see this backdrop. Well, I'm on the green screen. You'll see this backdrop and you just click play and then just look at the little timer when it starts, because it's got the first 20 minutes or so of the music playing before we got started. Just fast forward to when the event starts and you can watch the whole event from yesterday. And then for those of you that are part of the VIP, all of these videos and the VIP session all get put into a Mighty Networks that you'll be invited to and that you'll have access to for lifetime, along with this workbook. So the conversation about continuous learning is about, what are your learning goals? We have financial goals, we have weight goals, but we don't have a learning goal. What would a learning goal look like to you? What would a learning goal feel like for you? I want to have access to the top 10% of the information in my industry. Kind of cool. How will you integrate continuous learning into your daily routine? What are the strategies and the resources you will utilize? If there was one thing, right? A lot of people wish they could become better public speakers. I agree. Most people need to become better public speakers. You can shortcut, you can hack that public speaking skill and capability by being a better learner. Because when I start to use the words of Wallace D. Wattles, it's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way. The There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made that permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought held in this substance will be produced by the thought. Those are elegant words. They're not mine. That's me being a parrot and repeating the words of somebody else's from literature. So that's the power of continuous learning. Continuous learning is a significant tool that you can use to sharpen your success. So, understanding continuous learning, that drives us to number 11. This is a big one. This is one that I'm going to spend probably a little bit more time on to help you wrap your arms around it, because most people think about it. Most people are aware of it. Most people speak of it. Most people want it. They're not applying it. And you see the little image. You see the little image in the workbook. It's a key being handed to the next generation. Here's the challenge with legacy. Some of us were handed a legacy we don't want to repeat. Some of us were given a legacy that ain't nobody wants. And so we're speaking from this legacy, we're speaking from this core, we're speaking from this foundation, and nobody can hear us. And some of us have been around the planet, have been around the sun a couple dozen times, and we're just realizing that maybe nobody wants the legacy that we thought we were giving. So we've got to create a new legacy. And some of us, the clock's ticking, so we got to do it faster. So the way that you can create a legacy, more of your choosing, more of your wants, more of your desires, is we've been given a technology called the internet that would allow us to expose people to the legacy we want to leave. If you've been around me 2 or 3 times, there's a good chance you've probably heard me say, my goal is to leave a legacy of 600 generations. And in the 600 generations, my legacy is to have my name not die. Period. Listen, we still talk about Jack the Ripper. People talk about Hitler. People talk about Judas. Probably not somebody you'd want to invite to your next Christmas party, Judas, right? But why do we still talk about him? Because he's not dead yet. There's 2 times we die, the day they put us in the ground, and the second time we die is the last time our name is ever mentioned. One of the things I think is important is people who have graced my morning call, there'll be part of me frets the day that it's, okay, let's say goodbye to Tony and Tommy and Sally and Johnny and Jimmy. It's, hey, everybody, it's Sean Murphy. Let's say our goodbyes, because hopefully we're around 120 years from now. And we're saying goodbye to the people who have been part of the organization, part of the community. So how do we improve our legacy? Well, important in understanding the importance of service. How can we serve others? How many of you have ever cooked something, or how many of you have ever been at a party with family, friends, close friends that you would share food with, and you said, here, you want the rest of my sandwich? And they're like, I don't like that. But come on, you got to eat the rest of it. I don't want to throw it away. And you're saying, eat the sandwich. And they're like, I don't want it. Eat the sandwich. I don't want it. How many of you are attempting to serve people who don't want what you have? And you're like, well, nobody gets what I got. Because you got to get some new getters. The gotters you got don't want to get it. So you got to go get new getters. You got to get new people who want what you got. And the way you do that is through exposing yourself and letting people allow your vibe to create your tribe. Here's the hard part. You ready for the hard part? And it's a hard part because of the shift in your identity. If you follow step 1, the awakening, step 2, the vision. Step 3, addiction to approval. Step 4, facing your fears. 5, understanding your self-talk. All of this, if you work on all of this, your vibe is going to shift. And now all of a sudden, everybody you hung around don't want to hang around because they don't want to hang around. Because your vibe has shifted. And so, because it's easy, we go, well, I guess that doesn't work. And we go back to our old patterns. We go back to our old stories. And we go back and we go back and we go back and we go back. Bet you're all glad I was wearing pants, weren't you? So we go back through this old story and we have this conversation and we say, something's got to give, something's got to change. And then we get desperate. And then we start saying things like, I have to. We start saying things like, I need. And how many of you, drop an A in the chat if you believe in the law of attraction? This is going to be hard. I hope it's not hard. I hope my farm boy mind can help you wrap your arms around this. If you say, I need, what happens in the law of attraction? What is the law of attraction here? Doesn't it hear, I need? And if gratitude is about being grateful for what you have, aren't you being grateful for the need? So if I were to ask you, I need $10, based upon my sole question, based only upon the question, I need $10, you go, so do I. How many of you've ever heard somebody go, I need something, you go, yeah, so do I. Can you imagine asking God, asking the universe, right? Your wish is what? Your wish is what? My command. I need $20. I need $10,000. Guess what the universe brings you? More of the need. It doesn't bring you the thing. You're assuming that it's going to bring you the thing. It's only bringing you the need for the thing. God bless you. How many of you does it bring you more of the thing? It doesn't bring you more of the thing. I need more people in my business. The universe goes, you want more need? I got more need. I got a pocket full of need. I got a pocket full of need. You want some need? I got a pocket full of need. Your DMP doesn't say, on or before the 15th of next year, I need some. I need to be healthier. You get the need. I need somebody to love me. You get the need. If you listen to Napoleon Hill ever, when he talks about, some of you may know the original name that the publicist was going to give to the book Think and Grow Rich. To this book right here, Think and Grow Rich, was going to be called Use Your Noodle to Get the Boodle. What? What? Use your noodle. I have the book here. Use Your Noodle to Get the Boodle. Chapter 32, Organized Planning. Napoleon Hill drew a line in the sand. He said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll ruin me. And so he sat down on his bed and he said, subconscious, listen, you've given me some good things and sometimes you've led me astray because I let you. But right now, I need to come up with a title by the morning for this. Otherwise, it's done. 20 years of my life's work is done. I need a title. I need something that's going to be $1 million title. And he got hot. He got emotional. He got invited. He got inviting. And he asked the subconscious, give me the name. And he called the publisher at 2 a.m. I got the title, Think and Grow Rich. And the publisher said, that's it. That's what we need. Some of you aren't asking. Some of you aren't really worried about your legacy. Ooh, let me dodge the tomatoes. Anybody got tomatoes, rotten tomatoes? You're not worried about your legacy. When's your legacy going to take place? After I'm gone. When do you think you need to build your legacy? After you're gone? Nope, nope, nope. So what's the thing you can start doing today to build your legacy? You ready? There's some space down on the bottom of page 40, some white space on the bottom of page 40. Write this down. I decide to have one. I decide to have a legacy. I decide to have one. How many of you just felt a shift in your energy? You've never put it on paper. How many of you thought, well, I don't know if I'm important enough to have a legacy? I love that answer. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Write it down. I'm worth a legacy. I decide to have one. I know it sounds crazy for me to say I plan on having a legacy of 600 generations. That's 2,400 years. I either got to do something really big or I got to do something really big. I could either be right. In the Bible, it talks about there's two kinds of lessons. There's the black writing and the red writing. The black writing is more what you should follow. The red writing is what? Stories you should avoid. There's always lessons. You're either going to be the cure or the cause. So here's some questions around legacy and service. What does service mean to you, and why would it be important to your purpose-driven journey? How do you envision your legacy? What lasting impact do you wish it had on others, your industry, and the world at large? That's important. What lasting impact do you wish it had on others, your industry, and the world at large? What conversation? What is the dialogue? What is the essence? What is the thing that you want to have happen? What is that wish, that want, that curious thing that you want to have happen for people to become aware of? Kind of interesting, isn't it? What idea, what desire, what want, what wish, and do you wish to go on beyond you? I love it, Michelle. Michelle typed in the chat, today I decide to have a legacy. That's big, isn't it? That's big. That's some big stuff. But yet we were planning on it, but we never really made a decision. Identify specific ways you can incorporate service into your current endeavors. How can you make a positive impact on others? Pretty big about legacy, huh? Now, let me ask you this. What was the previous one? Prosperity shift? And if the prosperity shift was, or was it networking? I think it was prosperity shift. Yeah, no, continuous learning. So remember when we were doing prosperity shift? Remember when we were doing that and we said, go pump gas with prosperity? Could you pump gas with legacy mindset? Could you eat dinner with your family with prosperity mindset, with legacy mindset? See, if all of a sudden, follow me on this. Some of you have taken the 12 weeks with Sean, which is a great course. You can go to 12weekswithsean.com. You can learn more about that. Mumble, mumble, mumble. So 12 weeks with Sean, I talk about everything's an event. If you're building legacy, isn't everything an event now? isn't going to get the mail part of the legacy? You may not remember the legacy, but isn't every step you take part of the legacy? Could you imagine if cameras started following you around to film and video your legacy? Can I let you know a little secret? The reason I do these videos are for my great-great-grandkids. Because I don't want the story to be construed. I don't want the story to be messed up. I don't want the story to go, oh, he was brilliant. He could spell. All you got to do is look at half of my background. And they'll go, Purpose Driven Payday. What's Purpose Driven Payday? What's Lagasse? Lagasse, is he talking about Emerald Lagasse, the cook? No, that's legacy. Oh, okay. I want my great-great-grandkids to know I did live events, global events, and there's misspelling left, right, and center. Workbook doesn't even have the right stuff in it. Grandpa was a goof. Great-great-grandpa was a goof. Dada was a goof. I love it, but I want them to hear it from me. This is my legacy. I'm very clear about this. My goal is to be a better husband, better father. Do you think that message could resonate with any of my kids? To help them be a better wife and a better mother, a better husband, a better father? How long, how many generations can go on that philosophy would no longer be valuable? I want you to think about that for a second. How many generations from today could that philosophy of being a better husband, better father, better wife, better mother, at what generation, at what point in future would that no longer be a valuable resource? Some of you have similar legacies. Some of you have similar missions. You haven't identified it. You haven't stated it yet. This making sense? See, all of a sudden now, if all of a sudden everything you do can be carried on from now until forever, doesn't that change what drives you for your purpose? And if you're driving for a purpose that's valuable to you, might it, is there a chance that it could be valuable to others? Drop a V in the chat. If you are going to have your purpose, it could be valuable to somebody else. Could be valuable to somebody else. If it could be valuable to somebody else, do you think somebody would pay for it? Could you get over the fear of receiving money for something you love to do? Could you get over the fear of receiving money for something you're good at? Could you get over the fear of the prosperity shift that would allow you to have new self-talk that says, I am worthy of my success? Change the way you look at things, Dr. Wayne Dyer said, and the things you look at change. Wallace D. Waddle said, it's not about doing certain things. Legacy, legacy, legacy. It's about doing things in a certain way. Legacy, legacy, legacy. This making sense? Drop an S in the chat. My daddy said, if it makes sense, it'll make dollars. Love it, love it, love it. So what does it mean? And why is it important to have legacy? These questions, I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you. Service and legacy stage embodies a deep understanding that success is not just about personal gain and financial reward. It's about positive influence, lasting impact. This is at the bottom of page 42. This is about positive impact and lasting influence and a meaningful connections you forge. A lot of times when I read the books of the greats, Marcus Aurelius, Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, Wallace D. Waddles, I often wonder why they use particular words. So I want you, let's just take a second and understand this. Why did I use the word meaningful connections you forge on your journey? Why could I have used made? You make connections you make on your journey, connections you bounce into. Why did I use the word forge? because sometimes it takes a little bit of fire. You got to put it in the heat. You got to see, you got to hammer it out. How many of you have ever gone to a meeting? Well, we'll just hammer things out. Right? Forge. You have to create it. And when you forge it, you kind of lock it together. All right, renewal and return, page 12. Y'all shake your body out, shake your body out, shake your body out, shake your hand, shake your hand, shake your hand, shake your booty, shake your booty. Boo, 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 boo. Attitude, attitude. Ooh, 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 ooh. So, renewal and return, and then we'll do some Q&A. Renewal and return, we'll do some Q&A. Renewal and return is the culminating, is the accumulating phase of the purpose-driven journey. It's the celebration. So here's the challenge. Here's the thing about the renewal and return. The renewal in Latin America, when they talk about somebody who's successful, somebody who's kind of in charge, somebody who's been through the battle, maybe it was just Puerto Rico, but I remember them using it in Mexico as well. I don't know so much about Colombia and Peru and different places, but when they say, let me introduce you to Sean, they would then go like this, which means he's got his stripes, he's got his bars, he's got the epaulets or whatever you call it, the epaulets, right? So hey, here's Sean Murphy. They would do that, like he's the head honcho. Most people come back thinking that they've gone through the fire, and they didn't even spark the kindling. Let me tell you how to go build your business. You should be doing this. You should be here. You should be so good in my business. I can tell you this. Let me teach you. Good morning, millionaires. What if you had to, here, you ready? You ready? You're ready to, let me see how many people are here right now. 20 people. Imagine if I went around and I say the 19 of you are going to have to introduce you based upon where you currently are in life. And you'd have to reference your bank account. Zoop! It'd be me and myself talking. Why? Because all too often we base our success on what? How much money we got in a bank account. All too often we want people to think we're successful. Let people know you're struggling. Listen, I struggle every day. Why? Because I want more. I went to go let the sheep out this morning. I tricked McKinley, but she took me for a ride. She spun me around on my ground. She got my hat to fly off. I was low to the ground, so I didn't do a gizmo where I went fully sideways and landed about 4 feet off of the ground down onto my side, which is still a little sore. But no, McKinley took me for a little trip. If I had to tell you, listen, sheep pull me around all day long. I'm just glad they don't kick like cows do. I'm just so glad. Now, guess what I just brought? Guess what I just asked the universe? Oh, Sean has the first kicking sheep. Anyways, the point about the return is that too many people are trying to tell you how to return, how to arrive, and they've never left. In the Bible, they would call them what? False what? Prophets. There's a lot of false prophets out there. It's one of the reasons why I got started in what I do 4 years ago called Get Out of Your Effing Way. I started a podcast, vlogcast, a morning Zoom call called Get Out of Your Effing Way that's now 1,600 and I don't know, 15, 20 episodes in. If you do something for 1,600 times, do you think you get better at it? Hope. Most people start, do you realize that 90% of podcasts never have an episode 3? Listen, I'm not talking about the ones that get onto Apple. I'm talking about the people who go start a podcast, never make it to episode 3. I think the number 60% never make it to 10. They're done. They're done. Why? Why is that? Because they're trying to speak from the arrival versus the journey. What do we hear about all the time? Take them on your journey. Take them on your journey. Most of them, you want to take them to the destination. You haven't arrived yet. I haven't arrived yet. There's a lot of things I can check off my box. International speaker, spoke in Hong Kong, spoke in China. Do you ever go up to the lunch bar and go, do you have any Chinese food? No, we just call it regular food here. My point is that this idea that when you decide that you're going to go forward, you've got to go on the journey. Some of you have got to take people on the journey. Some of you have gone and come back. How many, listen, when I would travel and go do estate planning workshops, I don't know, I know what it was, but I don't know what it was. But I know that I would leave, I would pack my car and I'd get ready to leave. I'd get in the car and need my phone. I'd get out and I'd go get my phone. I get in the car and need my wallet. I get out and I go get my wallet. I get in the car and I couldn't find, did I have the planner? I get in the car and I didn't have my cord. I get in the car, didn't have my computer. I'm like, I packed the car. I no longer do that work. As you could tell, my subconscious was saying, you don't even want to go, let alone leave. So what are the transformative moments you've been through? Here's a tough question. You all ready? Listen carefully. How many of you are having the same transformative moments in different times? You're having this breakthrough, that's a 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 breakthrough, that you never leave the breakthrough. This is the refusal of the call. Joseph Campbell, in his book, Hero's Journey, where is it? In his book, The Hero's Journey, it's a big book. I know I had it here. I was just looking at it. Talks about the refusal of the call. I'm going to go do it. We're at an event. I'm going to go do it. You're here right now. I'm going to go do it. I deserve a legacy. I'm building a legacy. Let me know how that goes next Tuesday. Can you believe the price of this? I can't believe this. I don't know why that happened. Oh, this is ridiculous. I don't know why why don't you do so? That's not building a legacy. That's the refusal of the call. That's going back to the old story. I'm going to work on my self-talk. You suck at this. This is ridiculous. I don't even know why you started this. Refusal of the call. When you decide that you are worthy, and you're okay with dealing with the addiction to approval, you're okay with facing your fears, you're okay with working on your self-talk, you're okay with continuous learning in the unknown. Are you going to learn more of what you don't know or more of what you do know? Ooh, that's a trick question. He's trying to trick us up on that one. You're going to learn more of what you don't know about what you want to know. Now, the challenge is, here's the challenge about not learning. How many of you have read a book, put it on the shelf and said, I got it. I check marked the book. I've read the book. Listen, I read the book, The 8 Love Languages of Jay Shetty. I read it. It hadn't read me. I've refused the call. I haven't read this till it reads me. Until this book is dog-eared and underlined and written in. So look at this. Here's Napoleon Hill in the sidelines. And this is just in the introduction. There's all of these notes. Look at this. All of these notes. This is when the book reads you. Well, I don't like to write in books. Well, you're crazy. It's your book. Write in it. I like to take notes. So where's the notebook? Anyways. So what I'm saying is that when the book starts to read you and you start to do all of these, look, this is every page. This is every page. This is the edit. This is the notes of the ed. This is the beginning of the book. When you answer the call, you need to let people know you answered the call. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? You got drafted into the military this afternoon. Who'd be the first people you'd tell? Some of you are thinking, man, you mean they're going to feed me 3 times a day and I get to sleep by myself? This is awesome. It's a break. Who would be the first people you'd tell if you got drafted into the military? Who are going to be the first people you tell when you say, I've answered the call? Who are going to be the first people you're going to tell when you say, I answered my call? And then you got to do the toughest thing you'll ever do. I need your help. I need your help to answer my call so I can serve us all better. I need to answer the call. And it's going to be a tough journey. I need your help. How can your kids help you? Set some boundaries. Give them some specifics. Give them a reward. The challenge is we go, I'm off on the call, and all they see is this, and you're walking away, and they don't know when you're coming back. They don't know what the reward is for letting you go. They don't know what the reward is for letting you do the extra effort. They don't know what the reward is when you say no. They don't know what the reward is when you come back. You know why? Because every time in the past where you've said you answered the call, you never left. And they assume that this is what the call looks like. They assume this is what the call looks like. How many of you are ready to take things to the next level? Don't have to respond. Don't have to do anything. Don't move your body. I'm not asking you to commit. I'm asking you to ask the question inside. How many of you know that you've got to do something different? In order to hit your purpose-driven payday, not the payday that drives your purpose. See, most people have the drive. What we use terms like job. We get very disrespectful for people who are taking care of their families, and we say things like job, just over broke, jump up and whatever, I don't know. But we tell somebody that they've got a job, and you're a loser if you're not doing network marketing. It's not true. Jim Rohn's a perfect example. He said, I hated having to quit my job. He said, because I had the best story ever. I had the best story ever. Making some money, working part-time on my income and full-time on my dreams. I can do this. I can do it. So if you're going to go on this journey, you're going to have to ask for some help. And this is where you learn to leverage the mentors. One of the things that happens when you go from, if you look at the Joseph Campbell hero's journey, there's the ordinary world and there's the extraordinary world. And you know what's extraordinary about it? The hell and damnation that it brings to you. Here's some of the titles on the hero's journey. The night at sea, the night in the cave, the belly of the whale, the tests and the allies. And the enemies. This is in the extraordinary world. This is what you want me to go on? You want me to go spend a night in the belly of a whale? I'm sorry. When does the fun happen? When does the fun happen? When you decide the last trial, the last test, and that last test is to say, have you earned your strength? Do you believe in everything you've been through? And then they say, go on home. Take the lesson with you. Too many people are going, the clock goes this way. Too many people are starting here. They answer the call and then they try to scoot right along the ordinary line, the ordinary world over to the return, and they've learned some new words, some new syntax, and they have some new ways to make you feel less than. My daddy said there's two ways to have the tallest building in town: build yours bigger or tear everybody else's down. And when you see these people who say, I'm going on a journey, and then they skate across the ordinary line back over here to the return, you know they're lying. You know they haven't done one thing that you should be listening to. But because of the way they present themselves, the way they say they've earned this money, they've earned this income, we base too much upon income to determine what comes into our life. Oh, if you make a lot of income, I should pay attention to you. How many of you would go get, there's an amazing leader in the profession, somebody who I know personally is a friend. There's probably not 2 inches of his body that's not covered in a tattoo. How many of you are going to get your body covered in tattoos? Some of you might. Wouldn't be for me. So is that a philosophy? Now you want to go do it? Great. But don't make me have to go do it. Don't make me think I'm inferior because I haven't done it. So what would the renewal and what would the return and the renewal look like for you? What would you say different as you return from this journey? So there you go. Page 46 and 47 are kind of a wrap up. And then what I've done here on page 48, page 49 is, I'm not sure why they don't have all of the squares, but maybe it does. But those are for the next 6 months. What's going to happen in your business? What's your desire for your business in the next 6 months? September, October, November, December, January, February. And then write it out by day. I had a good mentor that said, make the first day of the year equivalent to the money you would make in the first week of the year. Make the first week of the year equivalent to the first month. Make the first month equivalent to the entire year. Now that's some big push. That's some big challenge. What if you just took each month, and the first day of the month you worked as hard as you could to make more than you did the first week of last month. First day, make as much as you did in the week. First week, make as much as you did in the month. And you work on that process. You work on that philosophy. You work on that continuous learning. You work on that prosperity shift. You work on that building resilience. You work on that neuroencoding. You understand all of a sudden you can do it. It's a Wayne Dyer moment. You change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So there you go. That brings us to I'm not sure if Danny is there. Daniela, are you available? Would you like to do anything? You may or may not. You may still be taking care of His Majesty Cello. So, okay. So Daniela, let's bring up Daniela Jukic, this amazing soul who has been challenged and tested at the levels of gratitude that most people have not. And some of the things I would not want to wish on some of my worst enemies. Some of the things she's been through that has challenged and allowed her to manifest bigger things because of her use with gratitude. So please help me welcome to the stage from Cleveland, Ohio, Daniela, actually Mentor, Ohio, Daniela Jukic. Hey, Daniela. Oh, I got to unmute you. Hang on. Yes, there we go. Bingo.
Hi. Thank you for that amazing introduction. It has been an incredible morning. Can you hear me? It's so windy over here, and this is about the only place I can have a conversation with you guys.
Nope, you're here. You sound perfect. Perfect.
Awesome. You know, everybody decides to cut their grass in this moment, and the wind picks up. So you got to do what you got to do. But so before I get started, I really just want to say thank you to Sean for giving, I'm going to speak for me and Amber, for giving us a space to be heard, to give value to amazing souls that are here with us today. And it really does take a special kind of person to push both of us to do some of these things, to show up, you know, even in the last moment. So I really appreciate you, Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Also, I would like to share a personal story with you guys about cultivating gratitude and how fast it can actually work for you through a personal story. So for some of you that don't know, I am part of Sean's mentoring, and I'm also part of the community, but I'm also in business with him. And we have been talking about expanding, and we've into a part of a region that has not been open in our company. And there are some countries that are slowly opening. So I'm very excited, and they're very close to my heart, and they're close to my hometown. So if you guys are a part of the VIP group, and if you're not, I really hope you sign out or go back to the dashboard and get on it, because last night's VIP was incredible. The walkthrough that Sean helped me with brought up a particular story that I thought that I have emotionally gone through it, and that I have emotionally let go. But there was a certain question that he asked me about my archetypes and who was the person hiding behind the curtains. And the person that came out was somebody I thought that I was already emotionally healed with. And that was not the case. So as we were going through the conversation, there were questions that Sean asked me that really, really resonated deep with me, to find the gratitude behind this story. And I personally am not ready yet to share this story, but one day I will. One day I will, and one day we'll come back to talking about this moment, and you guys will understand why it was a little difficult for me to share it with you in this moment. But as things were transcending through the night, and as I was, you know, getting ready for bed and getting my sleep mask on and picking my meditation for the night, I had almost like a nudge of just sitting in peace and bringing in as much gratitude from every aspect of my life just into me, just stacking it and continue to stack and continue to stack and continue to stack it. And as I was doing that, I was listening to my meditation. I was multitasking in that moment. But what happened was I cultivated so much gratitude that I had an incredible conversation with a particular person that I've had my eye on. You know, those people you have your eye on, you're like, I want that person to be in business with me, right? That person opened up the conversation of starting the business back home and how we were going to do it and where it was going to come from. And, you know, all the ins and outs of starting a business. It's amazing. And for a moment, I had to sit back and go, did this really happen in less than, I don't even know how many hours, 13 hours? What was the shift? So I started asking myself questions. Where, when, where, at what point did that shift happen in order? Because this person is not somebody that I don't know. This person is somebody that I'm very close with and that I've known for years. Where did the shift happen? One, I was in service yesterday. I was on this call yesterday. I had a place to be heard. So I was serving. Two, I acknowledged the blockage that was holding on to me, and it was deep in my root chakra. And for some of you that don't know, your root chakra has a lot to do with your stability. And I mean stability in all aspects of your life. And Amber's sitting here shaking her head. So you guys understand that I know what I'm talking about, and at least in this part. And I was like, okay, so that shifted. That has shifted. At what point? So acknowledging with Sean, the conversation I had with him, even though I didn't say what it was, but I knew deep down inside of me what that blockage was. At night, cultivating that amount of gratitude gave me a huge reminder of what it means to do gratitude on purpose. So my purpose was to pour in and stack as much gratitude as I possibly could from the past, from the present, from the future, of things that I have no idea what I'm even being grateful about. I was just stacking and continue to stack, continue to stack, continue to stack to wake up. Oh, here, key. I almost forgot to tell you, key. I did my 3 questions before I went to bed. And I was stumped on question 1, you guys. What did I do well today? I'm gonna start crying here. What did I do well? I was so stumped on what did I do well that I couldn't move on to what could I have done better. And I was like, come on, Daniela, there are so many things you did well today. And I couldn't think of one. And I go, you know what? Yes, I can. I kept my children alive. I kept those kids alive today. What could I have done better? And it was immediate. Be more present. And I don't mean, you guys, I don't mean in the aspect of you can't be with your kids 24 at every second. It is almost impossible unless you don't do nothing else except sit on the floor with your kids. But what I meant is that I heard what present meant for me. In the moments when I have that time to take a breather, I put one of them on my lap. I mean, Teo's pretty big, but he still sits in my lap. And I hug them. That is being present. And there is such an overwhelming emotion that happened over me that I just allowed to flow through me. That I just allowed and kept going. And all these other emotions started showing up. And I go, I understand. And I accept you. And I love you for showing up. Because these were really embedded in my subconscious mind where they were triggering other emotions that I was wondering where they were coming from. Then I went to number 3. What talent, skill, or resource do I need to come into my life tomorrow? And I kept it open-eyed. And my mind went blank. Kept it open. I said, I don't know what it is, but I know that I will receive the answer tomorrow. I didn't ask how it was going to come, who was going to deliver it. I just know that I have a desire. And that is always my main focus. That is where I put and I pour gratitude in on purpose. I am grateful for the things that I currently have so that I can have more of the things that I'm wanting. And I collapse time. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you for all the wind. I collapse time. Because drop a 1 in the chat if you think that 13 hours is a short period of time for things to start moving for you. And it didn't really hit me. So here's the thing. It didn't really hit me of what all happened until about 10 minutes ago. Till about 10 minutes ago. When Sean asked about legacy. I was listening though, even though I was a little occupied, I was still listening. Sean asked about legacy, and when does your legacy begin? Doesn't begin when you pass away. It begins now. When do we start building it? Now. And the best way to do it is if you can bring your life centered in gratitude. And the reason I say that, when you can center yourself in gratitude, everybody and anything around you moves through that energy. There are people around you that can't wait to hear from you. They're waiting for you. But it takes one act of kindness. Oh, hold on a minute. I'm so excited to tell you guys this act of kindness, because I did something out of the kindness of my heart for this particular person. They wanted something that you can only buy in the United States. And they asked me, hey, I know your family's coming down, even though I was in like complete turmoil in that moment because I couldn't be there. So they're like, well, I know your family's coming. I know you're not, but can you do me a favor? And I was like, well, depends what your favor is. Just kidding. So they tell me what their favor is. And it was something so small that I had to go to a store on the top of the street. But hear me out. The process of getting to that store was great. It is when I got out of the car that it all went into complete chaos. Marcello went into this screaming, like somebody's torturing him moment. And I was in there for 5 minutes, you guys. I've never picked something out in 5 minutes. I walked in, walked out, and I was like, all right, we're done. We're done. And I remember talking to this person. I go, you are so lucky that I have love for you. Because what I just went through with my child to get this, I wouldn't do it for just anybody. And yeah, that sounded like, okay, you're not really being grateful. And I wasn't in that moment. I'm not going to lie to you. But it hit me today that my act of kindness, not only did it, the item, let me tell you something. The item cost me $55. Let's even say 60 with tax and everything. $60. And cost me to ship it and nothing else, $60. Where the return is like 10 times. And I really sat here for a moment when Sean was talking about legacy, and I go, oh, I did it. I did it. I was able to do it. And it is okay to ask for help, even if you're considered the expert. The title, I saw somebody put it, the Gratitude Queen, that came up on the chat. That is a huge title to have next to your name. And it got to me, but not in the, oh, right? Not in the, oh, I got that title, in the aspect of, can I bring value to valuable people? I wasn't seeing that title through the eyes of what the people around me call me that. Until today. Until today. This whole entire experience, and I'm truly grateful to Sean. I don't even know what made me even want to be the second person to go through that process with you yesterday. because right before that, I told Kevin, I said, did I ever tell you why I stopped waking up at 5 a.m.? He goes, no, I always wondered. He goes, you did such a beautiful job and you were on top of everything. He goes, I've never seen you happier. And when I told him the reason, he goes, that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you want to enhance who you truly are? And I go, but it's scary. It is scary. And he goes, well, have you talked to Sean about it? I said, yeah, kind of, sort of, not really. Right? Because that's one person in my life that I know if I call, I won't be sitting in that. I will not be sitting in what I was sitting in. He would immediately pull me out of it, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to have Sean be my mentor in those moments because I know his capabilities. I know what I have grown through and what I was able to find gratitude in, but I wasn't able to find gratitude in that part. I wasn't ready to learn the lesson until I asked the right questions. And until I heard and I felt the nudge of just raise your hand. Take that leap of faith. And what came up yesterday was I was shocked. I was so shocked that I was like, okay, no, we're not having a conversation about that right now. But it got me through a beautiful process that whatever I was going to talk to you guys about today, I'm going to screenshot and I'm going to send it to Sean. It has nothing to do with what I said to you guys. Not one thing. Because I had this bullet point thing, what I was going to share with you guys. And when all this happened and when Sean said, when are you going to create your legacy? Are you waiting for your legacy to start after you pass away? I even feel it now. I have tingles from the top of my hair all the way down to my toes. It's like, that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to tell them what just happened. How doing intentional things on purpose, it's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. And gratitude is a certain way. There's levels of gratitude that I still till this day after almost 4 years. Woo-hoo, we're in August. It is 4 years. After 4 years, I am still finding levels of it that I didn't know were possible. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me space to have this conversation. And I hope you got some value out of this. So Sean, thank you again. Thank you.
Wow, y'all give up some love for the gratitude queen. And this is what happens when you have your purpose drive you, creates a payday, versus your payday driving you to create a purpose. I love it, love it, love it. Absolutely magnificent. Couldn't have asked for more. So cool, so awesome, and funny how it shows up right away. And then we start to connect, right? Steve Jobs said you can only connect the dots going backwards. So all of these things happen, and now all of a sudden you were able to connect all of the dots. And you're like, oh my God, oh my gosh. So I love it, love it, love it. So with that being said, with that everybody sitting in that high energy, I would love it if Amber could come in and lock some of that in, and then we'll do some Q&A. Amber, what could you do to lock some of that energy and allow people to take that with them as we wrap up the 2 days of Purpose Driven Payday? So big hand to Daniela Jukic, and let's bring back to the stage, Ask Amber Swally Connect. Oh, I need to unmute you. Yes, I need to unmute you. Ask to unmute.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ah, Danielle, that was so fantastic. Thank you for allowing us to be on that journey with you. You could have turned your sound off and we could have watched it all through your face, your eyes, your body. It was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we are going to lock all of this in a little different way than we have ever done anything before. So I still need you to cross one ankle over the other. I should wait, let everyone type all their things to Daniela. That's okay, keep typing. When you're done typing, go ahead and cross one ankle over the other. And then we're gonna actually put our fingertips, like our fingertips touching, like you have a grapefruit in between them. Go ahead and close your eyes, or it can be a telescope, Daniela, whatever you wanna do. Go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you all to see a picture of a rainbow. So you have those colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And we're going to lock this into the energy centers of our being. There's a word for those called chakras. They are your energy centers. Just like you have a heart, which is the center of your cardiovascular system, you have energy centers called chakras that lead to the energy piece of you. So we're going to start with the root chakra. This is a red color. It's right in your lap. If you're sitting, it would be where your body is connecting to the floor. So picture that red, a red circle. If you've never seen a picture of a chakra, it doesn't matter. It's red and a circle. And we're going to lock in these feelings. The statement that this chakra makes is I am. So what you felt watching Daniela, what you have felt during these last 2 days, we're going to make that an I am. If a statement doesn't come to you, bring all of those feelings, all of those emotions into that red circle, that red chakra. Watch it start spinning clockwise, getting brighter and brighter red. Now your sacral chakra is orange, and it's just above that root chakra. This is your creativity center. I feel is the statement. Bringing this feeling, your new awareness into this orange energy center. Our solar plexus, right behind the navel, it's yellow. This is where our personal power is. This is where you might have felt some things over the last 2 days. Something challenging your personal power. Even if there's still something there, picture Daniela's face right now. Get that feeling back when she was sharing that story and bring that in. Bring that into your personal power, your solar plexus. The I do is the statement. Now your heart chakra is green, right in your heart center. Statement is I love this community. Throat chakra, blue, I speak. You now can speak from this space of excitement, these feelings you're having, the new awareness, the new awakening. I now speak from this space. right above the bridge of your nose, third eye, I see. I know you all have your eyes closed. Daniela, thank you so much. She is moving her fingertips in front of the chakras. What a beautiful way to do that. So now your fingers in front of your forehead, that third eye, I see. You have new lenses on. Your perspective has changed because of these 2 days. You get to see through this perspective from now on. And now the crown chakra. That divine piece of you that connects you to the divine. Violet in color, I understand. From the base of I am, I feel, I do, I love, I speak, I see, and now you understand at a whole new level. We are locking this in to be accessible to you, for you, through you, from now on, through all time and space. We're going to wrap that up with love. Love and gratitude. When you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. That was beautiful.
I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Amber. So, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the 2 days of Purpose Driven Payday. You see there's a lot more to it, a lot more intensity in each one of those sections, and we'll be doing more on the rest of them. But I'd like to open it up now for questions for myself, for Amber, for Daniela. You'll probably have more questions for them since, you know, they're the energy side of it. So if you got some questions, go ahead. Go ahead, Danielle. Oh, let me fix this. Hang on. Let me fix this so that you guys can unmute yourselves more. Unmute themselves. There you go.
I have a question for Amber. When we were doing the locking in the emotions, stop it. I don't like to talk to you when there's other people around. When we were locking in the energy, so my hands literally fell because I kept it right here, and my hands literally fell, and they almost were moving on their own. So want to give me a little bit of it was intense because I felt the energy between my fingertips and around the palms of my hands.
So I've never done any of that before. Sean said, lock it in. And I went, lock it in. How? And then I just took a breath. And that divine connection, I ask for guidance and discernment, sometimes on a minute by minute basis. So when we have that connection, when we're open to that connection, Daniela and I also have a very unique connection between the two of us that we've never experienced, that sometimes we laugh about and sometimes Daniela doesn't laugh. So there was something there that you were open enough to realize. So if it was subconscious, if it was soul, if it was spirit, if it was all, that lock-in, that energy to follow that up with the chakras, it's beautiful. One piece of that was for me, because I get to go forward and use this now with people. And now I get to, yeah, that's a beautiful piece. Our subconscious can move our body. Our subconscious can do a lot of things in our being. So I know that's not a 1 + 2 = 3 answer.
Yeah. No, I get it though. I understand. So thank you.
Thank you.
Daniela, follow-up question for our panelist. What were you thinking when the hands moved?
I was just listening. I
So
wasn't
that's the key.
consciously thinking of anything.
Well, there was a part of you that your higher self was.
Right. That's why I said I wasn't consciously.
But your conscious is the only one that's in the now.
Oh, well, I don't know what was going on then.
But you weren't aware of it because it was your higher self who's in the now. And that's what took over. And since the energy was flowing through there, you decided to put it in front of the actual chakra. So congratulations. Huh?
It's funny that you brought that particular thing up. So when Amber talks about the spinning of the chakra, there's a part of my brain that can't see it spinning. I don't know why, and I have a hard time expanding it and I think that had a lot to do with why I needed something different. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's go to Vegas. Hey, Vicky. There you go.
I have a funny, really, it was so profound. I would like to understand better what happened going on for me. Was I kept saying, look for the gift behind everything that's happened.
Vicky, it's a little hard to understand your signal right now.
As you know,
if you want to type it in the chat.
And I thought I have a very, very hard time with that. If I talk louder and slower, can you hear me?
It seems like it might, but let's see. Let's go ahead.
Can you hear me? So what basically happened was that I became aware that every time something happens, and me or my honey, we each have an interpretation of what we're hearing. And we get to either hear it from a positive perspective or a negative perspective. And what happened was that recently I've been doing, I've had a couple of sessions with Amber that have been incredible. So, and I've had a session with Ruth, it was like good work. But I didn't know what was happening and I was sad. It was just a sadness. And I kept saying, what's the sadness and why am I seeing this negative? And then something you said changed my life forever. And it was one of those experiences where something just happens and you're never the same. And what it was, and that's what I guess I don't really understand. I really had not had any memory of loving with my mother. So my interpretation of everything she did was negative. And what happened then was interesting because my mind just went blank. Give me a second, my thought will come back. What happened was that she taught me exactly what you've been teaching us. She taught me that your mind has so much more power, that we have control of our bodies, that all these things you've been teaching us, she knew. And that was her gift to us, to me. And it took me to be 81 to see it, but I got to see the gift. But I don't understand how something so profound just arises, like that consciousness. Oh my God, this woman that I felt hated me gave me the best gift that she could have. She's teaching what Sean is teaching us. And I know it to be accurate. And I'm trying to understand what led to that kind of that ever changes. I don't know what more to say, but I really don't understand how that kind of thing can happen.
So
please.
it's literally what Wayne Dyer says: change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. For 81 years, you looked at something a particular way, and you gave up the old identity of saying that somebody was being frustrated, agitated, mean to you, and you finally realized, oh my gosh, they were giving me the lesson all along. And it's the same content, just looked at it from the other side of the table, right? If I take this book and I write the problem down, and I can read the problem from this way, and I literally walk around the table, and the book is now being able to be read from that side, and I read it from this side, same problem, looking at it from a different way. And that's what you did today. You allowed yourself, it's not that it took 81 years for the lesson to be learned. You spent 81 years with a lesson to have it make such a profound meaning for you today that you gave yourself the gift today. And that's the significant part.
Yes.
It's not that they were this for 81 years. It's you waited to receive a gift at 81 years old that was always available. But now you realize, now if I have this gift, I can do more with the world having opened this gift versus the knowledge I had. So it's a huge day for you.
Yes, yes. It even began to clarify for me my DMP, that if I can, and even the methodology, because of my incredible techie skills that are developing, but these were the concept of a 1 to 2 minute period of the conversation, just the stimulated conversation. And to start doing that as a way of introducing myself to the world, because I don't. I listen, but I don't participate writing and stuff. For lots of reasons, doesn't matter. But the reality that I'm realizing is, even as people are committing to the work that I'm doing with you, that's the other part I'm hearing. Whatever you call it, God, spirit, whatever, moves you where you need to move to. And if you just observe that and allow yourself to see it, it's unfolding. And some marvelous gifts, and the fact that you created an environment where people can experience different skills that our group has and the people have, and that we really want 1 + 1 is more than 2, and the kind of thing that you created. And I feel like you created, in a sense, a possibility for me. And I had to be ready for it, if I understand correctly. And something happened that suddenly made me ready. It was almost like Mother was, I've never even said mommy, so I'm going to use it. Mommy, that's all I heard. Never have I ever called her mommy.
So here's one of the other big things that's happened. Here's the other big thing that happened. You allowed the space And you arrive and see all of the, so everybody pay attention. All of us have an opportunity for something like this. The only way it shows up is if we give it space. The other part of when we give it space is we have to also arrive in that space. Some of us have had boxes full of stuff given to us, energy, stories, this, that, or the other. And if we never go to open them, we never arrive in the same space as the place, and then never in that same, because it's an empty space. And all of a sudden, the only thing there is you and this idea. And that's how it takes hold. And that's why it has an impact, because it's the only thing. So I applaud you for that. I'd ask you to take more time to continue to work on that, to realize that this just happened. This is truly an awakening that changes everything about everything that was everything. This is an everything change.
Yeah.
So congratulations. That's awesome. Love it, love it, love it.
Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And Danielle, everybody who's contributed. And it also made me understand why I love the RCPs. It's easier in some ways to be happy for somebody else. And when you're doing RCPs, that's what you are. You're reminding them of their greatness and who they really are and the capacities they have. And I can do that easier for another as I'm working on doing it for myself and learning
Well,
to say
and
the same thing to me.
that's the thing that's powerful about the RCP, is that it creates the echo effect. You say it, it bounces up, right? Remember when we were little? Whatever bounces off of me and sticks to you. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. The RCP is the same thing. It bounces off of you and sticks back on me, and therefore I feel better. Everything we needed to know, we learned in kindergarten. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, Diane. Let's go up to Nova Scotia.
Wow, I'm blown away, Vicki. Congratulations. You've been looking for this, and I'm just so happy for you. It's just amazing. This has been an amazing day, Sean. And say thank you to all of you. And I had a question for Amber. When we were doing those, the sacral and the
Solar plexus.
I felt my body moving and vibrating, but it was just with those two. And then when we went to the head, it leveled off again. Is there something significant about that?
So the sacral chakra is our base for creativity, our source of creativity and our energy centers. So Diane, you said vibrating, correct? Was that the word?
I felt my body just moving. I don't know if I was actually moving, but I felt that way.
So what does moving mean to you?
I don't know. Would it be something like awakening, or I don't know.
So I'll go to the next question. What does moving within your creativity mean to you?
Well, I've been getting these different visions, and it says that to not move too fast, and things are coming to me, and I just have to be patient. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. And that's some of the things that's been coming to me, is just don't be impatient, be patient, and things are coming. I don't know if that makes sense.
It always makes sense, Diane, because this is you. This is your being. It always makes sense. So within your personal power, so our solar plexus is that seat of personal power, the I do.
Mhm.
Does that make sense that it would connect then with this, with the seat of creativity and that movement?
Yeah.
And that things are coming. And then you said when it got to the top, it leveled out. What's the statement for the crown chakra? I understand.
I understand. That makes so much sense. Thank you.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does now.
Is there another piece that doesn't make sense?
No, it was just a bit disjointed at the time, but going through it with you, that makes so much sense. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Love you.
Love you.
My body's loose and like you say, Sean, loosey goosey.
Right? So how cool is that? Who else? Any last thoughts, comments, questions as we wrap up the day 2? I'm trying to touch my fingers. I check that out.
Nobody can unmute.
Oh, Sean.
Oh, yeah, I unmute. I fixed that for everybody. I should have. Go ahead, Bob.
So, we talk about, we are the average of the people that we circle with. How incredibly blessed are we all to circle with every one of the amazing souls here, and particularly you and Amber and Daniela, who shared on stage, but everyone here who shared of their energy and their comments. But I cannot get over the gratitude that I feel for the privilege of circling with this group of amazing souls. So I'm just blown away.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And ditto, right back to you, right back at you. Love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
God bless.
God bless, brother. Hey, Michelle. And then I saw Nikki popped in a second ago, so go ahead, Michelle. You are unmuted. No, can't hear you. Can't hear you.
It's so loud here. Can you guys hear me?
So we'll go to Nikki and then back to Michelle. Go ahead, Nikki.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying it's really loud. That's why I dropped my question in there because I'm at Starbucks, so there's coffee grinders going everywhere. Please read my question.
So, Michelle, can we get you back? Let's try it again. Oh, unmute. There you go. Try that. No. Yes. No. Sounds like. No, can't hear you. Okay. Just pop out, pop back in. Maybe something there. Let's go to Sharon. Hey, Sharon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I realized something this morning, because I kept having this flood of tears, and I have a tendency to interpret that as I'm having a problem when I'm not. It's just emotion that's flooding my body, if that makes any sense. And when Vicki shared that this morning, she shared that privately with me before. And I realized there's something about speaking it out loud. It's like the exercises we did last night, speaking it out loud does something to the neuroencoding. And I think maybe some of the tears that I keep having is saying goodbye to that identity, not holding on to it, but being able to let it go in a different way, if that makes any sense. And I've had I don't know whether I've told you this or not, but I had a profound experience of rewiring my mother's suicide for myself, which was that because it was the thing that ran me my whole life. And one day I had this awareness that I was so terrified of going to high school in New York. I was so terrified that it was just a given that I would turn into a junkie whore if I went to high school in New York. I was terrified of it. And she killed herself just before high school, which got my father to send me to a boarding school that saved my life. And it was like, instead of it being this big thing, it was like her gift to me, her parting gift was to say, I know you don't want to go to school. And it's like, I'm making it up anyway. But all of the things we're doing, it's how you look at something that affects it. And I can choose to reinterpret her suicide and change my entire life, my whole perspective, and that identity that I've held on to. And it's like this flood of tears has been happening this morning, and I want to run away from them. And one of the things that I've gotten from Daniela over the years, I have all kinds of stuff that goes on with me. I don't know what it is, but I think it has mostly to do with her voice, frankly. But the one thing that I have taken to heart is letting those emotions flow through me and not blocking them, not interpreting them, not holding on to them, not changing them, but having what I have in any given moment and letting myself totally embrace all of it, totally embrace it in gratitude. Because, man, how many people get to be 77, 81 years old and be so committed to becoming the best version of themselves they can be? We are an amazing family. And I am so grateful for this family supporting that interpretation of how amazing we are and where we're going. So that's what's, I don't know if there's anything you have to say about it. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, because I shut down my emotion when my mother died. You know, that was it. And yet now I'm so emotional. It's very challenging for me. You know, so I realized though that I was kind of making it was like, I don't have to make any of it wrong. I can just let it flow through me and have it and not make it right or wrong or anything else. And I mean, who knows what really happened for my mother, but what I interpret is what's more important than anything else. So we get to make up our lives entirely. And so anyway, that's, and I wanted to share that too, because I have the feeling that claiming something, owning it publicly is what it gives it a different reality than when I just do it privately. So, and I love
you hear yourself say it.
Which is true with my journal writing course. I have people read aloud what they've written, and it completely changes what they hear inside themselves.
Yep. Which is why it doesn't hurt if we speak out loud.
Right.
We claim our statements, right? What did Jesus say before every miracle? Thank you.
Thank you.
I love it. Love it, love it,
And
love it.
I did do like the assignment last night and this morning, and because I got up early enough, I did a longer meditation. And I was so far out in the ozone that I would have missed the call this morning, except some idiot robocaller called me and pulled me out. I said, what are you calling this? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like completely dissipated. And then 2 seconds later, Vicky called and said, "Are you ready for the call?" I was like, "It's only 7 o'clock. No, I'm not ready." And it was like 10 to 8.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So it's like, and I've been, it's just taken me till now to come really allow myself the gift of what you're giving us here. And that's, and in my brain, I went, oh my God, I got to get this workbook and I got to take the hours to write each answer. And it's like, I get to do that if I want to.
Yep.
There's no have to about it, but there's so much richness that you have offered us that I could spend my whole life noodling about it all. And I want to make sure I implement this stuff. If that makes any sense. Instead of just thinking about it.
Outstanding. I love it. Great breakthroughs. Thank you for sharing all that stuff. That's very powerful. All righty. Anyone else? Any last thoughts, comments? Thank you to all of the new people that showed up. You're more than welcome to come back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this is where I do my morning call on this same platform, the same place that you logged into every morning at 6 a.m. That might be a little early for you. Maybe, maybe not. 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. And yeah, this is where I do all of my events and conversations. So glad to have everybody here. Any last thoughts, comments, questions?
We're not meeting tonight, right?
Nope.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, all righty, my little misfits. I appreciate you so very, 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 very much. Thanks for being a part of this journey. Thanks for being a part of the Purpose Driven Payday. It's kind of cool. It's, yeah, first one for me to do it in this order, in this syntax. So I loved it very much. I loved being a part of it. And I loved having you here at the first one. You can always say you were at the first one. And for those of you that are part of the VIP, the recordings will be going up. You'll be getting an invite sometime over the weekend to go to into a mighty network community. And one of the things I have planned, this came to me in the shower last night. Funny how ideas do. That for all of the people who are part of the VIP communities that have ever done things for any VIP part of any of my challenges, I'm going to have something pretty special for y'all. So that's going to be kind of cool. Love you, love you, love you tons. I hope you have an incredible, fun-filled, masterful day. I appreciate
Sean,
you so. Yes.
Before we go, a friend of mine passed away, and his name was Sean too, a different spelling. But he said something that I'm gonna repeat every day. He said, "Do something nice for someone today." And I think all 17 of us could do something for Sean as a pay forward for everything that he put together. This was a no-fee challenge. Like, this is mind-blowing. A handbook that, who does this? Who gives this for free? All this value that is in here. This is mind-blowing. Every single time he knocks the socks off. And so if you feel that you got some value for this no-fee challenge that you participated in yesterday and today, I would urge you to record a testimonial and send it to Sean. Sean was mentioning about being a public speaker. You cannot become a public speaker if you don't practice. And how do you practice that? Well, Sean will love it if you would practice it on him. Just take a recording. It doesn't have to be long. Do it 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, however long you feel that it's necessary for you to pay it forward. So I really hope that you take this challenge to do something nice for Sean, because he deserves it. So thank you, Sean.
Well, Christina's my sister. I've lost my accent. She still has hers. So that's your sister when she speaks up for like that. Excuse me. Would you just quiet for just a second? I got something I want to say. Thank you for that, because I wouldn't say it myself, and most of us don't. And this is when you find your advocates, those people who love you enough to put themselves in harm's way. So thank you, everybody, for being my advocate. Thank you for sharing the stories. Thank you for bringing me on and doing interviews with me and letting me promote and share my stories. I love you so much. So Christina, thank you. And we now have another Sean to pray to in heaven. So That's awesome. Do something nice for somebody today. Kind of cool. All right, everybody. I love you tons. I appreciate you so very, 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 very much. I think I got some music going here. This is a cool song. I appreciate y'all. Head brain training, brain scrambling, purpose driven misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
At the next event.
Thank you, everybody. I love you. Oh, look at that. There's that wasn't Jordan. Was that Jordan in the back? That's Micah. Caleb. Tyler. Oh, it's not even yours. Okay, not yours. Okay. Awesome. Hey, kiddo. Love you tons. All right. Love y'all. Bye for now.
This is where the bruises come from. This is when the game gets ugly. These blood, sweat, tears keep